the emblems put on the screen, and then bring up 57 and 56.
Does that have something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like
It's supposed to be coming out soon. A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
It's the Morning Blitz, 8:41. Aaron Rogers last Tuesday on the Pat McAfee Show. I think there's...
Why are we not blasting A.J. Hawk for starting all this?
I know, right? A.J.'s over there grinning. Man, he's just over there smirking at the whole thing. You can see him on the screen. Anyway, Jimmy Kimmel got all upset about this, claimed that he was trying to associate Kimmel with the Epstein list when he was just trying to prove that he was right, that there was a list. Now... And I came in this morning wondering, I'm not sure who's to blame. I think they both might owe each other an apology. Well, this happened last week, and then, Kimmel released his statement and said, keep it up, and we'll debate the facts further in court. And then this past Monday night, Jimmy Kimmel decided he was going to bring it up on his late-night talk show.
He went on a show on ESPN, the Pat McAfee Show, and out of the blue insinuated that I was nervous because the Jeffrey Epstein list was coming out. He said I was hoping it wouldn't, and that he was going to pop a bottle of something to celebrate when he did. And then it did come out, and of course my name wasn't on it and isn't on it and won't ever be on. I don't know Jeffrey Epstein. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not on a list. I was not on a plane or an island or anything ever. And I suggested that if Aaron wanted to make false and very damaging statements like that we should do it in court.
And then Jimmy actually did acknowledge and said it was probably most likely that Aaron was mad at him for what he said last year about the Epstein list existing. And then he even played the clip from last year. Jimmy played it on his show of Aaron, making his original statement about the list.
Did you hear about the Epstein client list about to be released, too?
What's that? What are you talking about?
There's some files that have some names on it that might be getting released pretty soon.
Oh. Might be time to revisit that concussion protocol, Aaron. So he saw that, and maybe to retaliate, he decided to insinuate that I am a pedophile. This is how these nuts do it now. You don't like Trump, you're a pedophile. It's their go-to move. And it shows you how much they actually care about pedophilia.
Now, see, that kind of that baffled me because I knew the past story. If you don't know everything that went on over the past 3 years between these two, again, I can see why you would have went, well, what's he trying to say about Jimmy? But even Jimmy knew what he was talking about. But why Jimmy took it there, I don't know. Because he knew. I mean, by doing that and playing that clip, he acknowledges that he knew Aaron was wanting the list to come out because that means Jimmy was wrong about a list, because Jimmy didn't believe there was a list, and now we know there definitely was. I know.
Here's my...
Dollar to Kelly.
I've seen going through like blanket text, and this is just a blanket statement. I've seen a lot of like Jimmy Kimmel hatred because of whatever. If you don't like Jimmy Kimmel because you don't find him funny and you don't like him, that is your prerogative. Turn the channel. If you're going to hate Jimmy Kimmel for talking to his audience and playing to his audience, then you need to hate the late Rush Limbaugh for playing to his audience.
Everybody's got a target audience.
Because everybody has a target audience. So don't just hate him because politically he doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, we play rock and roll here.
Again,
we target rock listeners. If all of a sudden I played a Justin Bieber song, our listeners are going to like, what the hell are you doing?
Exactly. So take the blanket hatred over, because that's what causes division, because we're basically divided because you're not allowed to believe what you want to believe politically without pissing somebody off and them ending friendships over it. So don't hate him because you don't like his audience. That's fine. Just don't watch him.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, at this point, though, Jimmy then just begins blasting Aaron.
Aaron Rodgers has a very high opinion of himself. He generally thinks that because God gave him the ability to throw a ball, he's smarter than everyone else. A guy who went to community college, then got into Cal on a football scholarship and didn't graduate, someone who never spent a minute studying the human body, is an expert in the field of immunology. He just put on a magic helmet, and that G made him a genius.
That was funny.
Aaron got 2 A's on his report card. They were both in the word Aaron, okay?
That's an old joke. Does he know that? Does he know for a fact that Aaron only had 2 A's in college?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Kimmel.
That was harsh, though, man. I mean, you're just really calling the guy a moron like that.
Because I'm an equal opportunity slagger, where I don't agree with Kimmel is if you're going, and we've all said this in this room 1,000 times, if you're going to dish out the joke, you need to be able to take the joke on the other side, because sometimes the funniest jokes are when you are the bunt of them.
Right.
So if you dish it out, you have to be able to take it. And yes, there are times when Kimmel doesn't appear that, he
doesn't have a sense of humor when somebody's
Correct.
cracking on him.
But Aaron Rodgers is also the kind of guy where if he's not getting enough TV coverage, he'll call TMZ and let them know he's going to Subway so they can send a crew out.
All right. Well, Aaron then came back on the Pat McAfee show. This was after all that happened on the other night. And then Aaron was back on Tuesday and, came on to clarify everything.
The history of this, whatever this is between Jimmy and I, this goes back to COVID times, right? And in COVID times, he mentioned on his show jokes about my immunization. He didn't just stop there, though. He made a lot of other comments about unvaccinated people, that they don't deserve treatment. If they're at a hospital, they shouldn't be given a hospital bed. So in my opinion, you went after me. That's fine. You're a comedian. Go for it. Not offended. Fast forward to, again, unprompted. We're talking on our show as we do. Somehow the Epstein client list comes up. And what I joked about the other day about popping a bottle, there's excitement about when the corruption anywhere gets exposed and people who are accused of these heinous crimes get exposed, that will be nice. So I made this comment on the show whenever that was last year, right, I believe. And then unprompted, he comes out and says that I'm an overly concussed wacko because I believe that there was a list and that there were names on that.
All right. So, yes, Aaron definitely remembered all of Jimmy's comments about him. And that is the whole gist of this. Jimmy did not believe there was a list, made fun of Aaron for thinking there was a list. And then Aaron wraps it up with this, and he'll get his dig at the end.
We fast forward to this last week, and I said that a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't come out. End quote. That's what I said. That's the entire quote. I was referring to the fact that if there is a list and there are names on it, then that would be the second time that a soft brain, junior college, wacko, anti-vax, anti-Semite, spreader of misinformation, conspiracy theorist, MAGA, whatever other things have been said by him and other people in the media would be right twice. I totally understand how serious an allegation of pedophilia would be. Did you watch the quote? Because that's exactly what I said. Verbatim what I said on the show. Okay? I'm not stupid enough, even though you think I'm an idiot, and you made a lot of comments about my intelligence. I'm not stupid enough to accuse you of that with absolutely zero evidence. That's ridiculous. I'm glad that Jimmy is not on the list. And, I think it's impressive that a man who went to Arizona State and has 10 joke writers can read off a prompter. So
there it is. So I'm sitting there going, well, I think they both owe each other an apology.
I agree.
Because if you're going to talk about something publicly about that goes back, years, you kind of need to refresh people's memory, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, Connor, let me real quick. Sorry, Cal. Nobody's being forced to go to a Jimmy Kimmel show that doesn't want to be there.
Right.
Their audience is going there because they're his audience.
Yes.
Nobody's holding them at gunpoint and taking them to a Jimmy Kimmel show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, all I have to say about this entire thing, no offense to anyone, but watching two grown men make a years-long public display of their personal pissing match is a colossal waste of my time.
Yes.
I love it.
Agree.
That's hilarious.
I mean, if I would have to have an opinion on it, I think they both come off as overly self-important.
Yes,
agree.
I think it's
1000%
a complete
agree.
overreaction. I really do. And Jimmy, and again, going back to where Jimmy knew what this was really about, I think, he's like, my name's going to be all over the place by coming after him for this, even though he knew what it was about. That's my problem with it.
I hate the fact this is even happening because now we're talking about this and it's all of a sudden it's turning into something political that's not. For the record, I hate both sides. I hate the division.
I know.
Hate them all.
I know.
Start over.
That's where you and I always agree.
Yes, Thick and I 1,000% agree on this. Start over. I hate them all. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe. I'm entitled to believe what I want to believe. We can still be friends.
Unless you don't like the end of Game of Thrones.
Then if you don't like the end of Game of Thrones, you're just an idiot. If you do like the end of Game of Thrones, you're an idiot.
All right. So, by the way, yesterday, Pat McAfee announced that Aaron Rogers' Tuesday weekly segment will no longer be on his show. He's done with it, and he said Rogers just became too much of a distraction, so they will not. He did say for this season, so I don't know if he'll have him on next year or not. I just because of all of this, I decided to look up. I became curious on how many people actually tune into these shows, right?
Nobody anymore.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel gets 1.9 million viewers. That's what he averages over the past 3 months per show, which is second place to Stephen Colbert, who gets 2.66 million. But you think about 1.9 million. So we're talking about 0.5% of the population watches Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, that's not a ton. You look at the McAfee show, he only averages 850,000, but McAfee is killing it on YouTube with tens of millions of views a day.
Yep.
And I get it because I do like the show.
That's why ESPN reached out and grabbed him.
And now, and Kimmel's on ABC, is that right?
They're the same company. Yep.
Yeah, so it's ABC, ESPN, all under the Disney roof, and it's like, guys, what are you doing to us here? But when I was looking this stuff up this week, there were straight up headlines. Deadspin. Rogers says that ABC late night host Jimmy Kimmel is a pedophile. Yahoo Sports. Rogers giddily predicts that Jimmy Kimmel would be outed as an Epstein crony.
They call that clickbait.
Rogers has insinuated that on a Disney-owned platform that ABC's late night host is a pedophile. I'm like, guys, seriously? So, again, if you didn't know the history, I understand why you'd be like, what's he trying to say when he made that comment? But it was just about the two of them disagreeing on whether or not there was even a list, not about either one of them being on the list. It's so silly. I think you're right, Kelly. It's a complete waste of our time. But I was curious as to where people, stood and who they thought was actually in the wrong.
I think Kelly said it best. They're both overpaid, grown crybabies in one way or another. Kimmel can dish it out and can't take it, and Rogers is, someone said on every one of our social platforms, Rogers is 100% a drama queen. 1,000%. 1,000% a drama queen.
Okay. I don't know him. I don't know. I hear people say, I hate that guy. And I'm like, how do you get emotional hate for somebody you've never met in your life?
It's so funny because he despises or dislikes Brett Favre, but his career trajectory is the same. Everything that he ripped on Favre about, he did to the Packers for years.
He's like, well, this is how it's done.
Right.
Favre refused to help him out in any way when they drafted him.
Right. I mean, you can watch news clips. Oh, wait, is Aaron Rodgers going to show up for... Oh, look, Aaron Rodgers is walking in training camp. Go back 8 years. Is Brett Favre going to... Yep. Oh, look, Brett Favre's coming to train. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is.